Oh, nice face, Eric. Okay. So, hey everybody. There's Eric with his beauty pageant wave again. Oh, shut up. So this is Beth with Grave Concerns. Eric, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Eric with North American Paranormal Society. And Beth, how long have we been friends and investigating? Do you know?
Too damn long. Too damn long.
Good
Um,
answer. Good answer.
Let me think about this.
I started thinking about that a while back. I'm like, what was our first investigation? I don't really remember what our first one was.
um,
And judging by that face, I'm going to say you don't either.
I don't either. Maybe USS North Carolina. Does that sound right?
I wanted to say either that one or OSR.
Could have been. Could have
Yeah,
been. So that would have been maybe 2010, something like that.
yeah, approximately around there. So,
Okay.
what, 12 years now?
Yeah. Like I said, too damn long.
Time flies.
So I'm going to be putting in the chat the link to your website and to mine. And then we will link to West Virginia Penitentiary's website here in just a few minutes, since that is what we're going to be talking about tonight.
That place is awesome.
Yeah. So West Virginia Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. Probably one of the more impressive places I've ever been, I would have to say. What
A
about you?
very long building.
It is. It is. It's kind of, yeah, it's deceivingly long.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of from looking at it from the street. So yeah. So I guess maybe we can start with a little bit of history about the place. Do you remember any of the history?
Unfortunately, I don't. I know because when we were there, like they took us through more of just like the ghost stories. Essentially, they didn't really go into a whole lot of historical detail, and that's why I want to go on the history tour this time, so I can kind of get more of that knowledge.
Okay. So you are going to do the daytime history tour?
I believe we're looking at doing that. Yes.
Yeah, I've thought about doing it myself too. Even though this will actually be my fourth visit there. But
Fourth. Wow.
yeah, but you know what it's like when you get in these places and like all of it starts to run together after a while. Like you forget all the details. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, with big places, I can remember like the big details, but probably the small ones are just like, poop,
Oh
gone.
yeah. And
Yeah,
some of those may be the most important ones,
yeah, you're right.
especially during an investigation.
Yeah. So, hey, Troy, how are you? I'll give Troy hell like he did me last time I watched one of his
Where's
broadcasts.
Troy? I don't see him.
Look harder. You need to get your eyes checked. So let's go over um, let's go over a little bit of the history. So I had to do a little bit digging, but I think I sent it to you as well, Eric. So it was built in 1886 and decommissioned in 1995. Which seems kind of crazy to me because really, when you think about it, in 1995, that really wasn't all that long ago. Because a lot of these prisons and a lot of these places we go to are so old and have been abandoned for so long. So when we hear 1995, it doesn't seem like that long ago.
Yeah, but it's amazing that if it's not kept up by any means, how quickly these places can deteriorate.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'll give you a little bit of timeline, and I can put this up here for people to be able to follow along. So from 1866 to 76, the inmates actually helped to build the first phase of the prison. So imagine that.
Oh, that's harsh.
You're going to be building the same building that's going to be imprisoning you for how long, right?
Hey, you guys like what you built here? It's nice, right? Cool, you're staying here now.
Move on in, pack your bags. 1876, it opens with 251 male inmates. 251. Well, of course, you got to think about it, though. That prison then was not the prison we know now, because obviously they've added on to it and built to it. So from 1951 to 59, 9 men were executed by the electric chair, Old Sparky.
Which I think they still have on site, if I remember correctly.
They do. They actually have it there kind of in the lobby as you enter, where they have a lot of the artifacts and like the gift shop and stuff like that.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So we'll get to see Old Sparky again. So, and I've also got a picture of Old Sparky. So we'll go through some of the pictures and show everybody here pretty soon. So, but in March of 73, 5 prison guards were held hostage during a riot, one of the first riots there, because there were multiple in this prison. The prisoners barricaded themselves in maximum security section of the penitentiary. I don't think that was that big of news then. Maybe it didn't last that long. I don't know. Big deal, right? 79 in 1979, November, 15 inmates escaped. And the very last one was caught in New York City 18 months later. So,
dang.
Pretty good escape, right?
He had a pretty good run. Making a year and a half.
He made it all the way to the big city. So, and in 1983, Charles Manson wrote a letter to the prison asking to be transferred to West Virginia Penitentiary, and he was denied.
My question is why? I mean, this place had horrible living conditions. What makes you like, you know what? That sounds like a great resort. I want to go there.
No day in paradise. For whatever reason, and don't quote me on this because I can't remember if it's right, but I'm wanting to say that somebody told me that he did it because he wanted to be closer to a mother or a family member or something.
I guess that would make sense, but yeah.
All right, so Troy is confirming that he had family close by. When I thought about his mother, that didn't make sense though, because I thought that Manson and his mother were not on good terms or something, or maybe he didn't know his mother, but family. Let's just leave it at that.
Family.
His family. So, and in January of 1986 is when the big riot took place, which is probably the one that most of us are familiar with. So yeah, I think it was that one. So they held 12 people or 12 employees of the prison hostage. 11 of them were prison guards. One was a food service worker.
No, that's just breaking the rule. You don't mess with people who handle your food. Come on now.
Well, apparently they didn't like their food, okay?
Could be worse.
It's a prison after all. This is not the Plaza Hotel.
Well, apparently it was. I mean, some people trying to transfer to it.
Yeah.
Family.
But those aren't normal people. That was Manson. Keep that in mind. So, and we'll get back to that riot more in just a few minutes, because that was huge news at the time. And then in 88, we had another 3 prisoners escape, but they were recaptured quickly. So apparently it was not that easy to escape here. This was not Alcatraz. So another one in 88. So there were 2 escapes in 88. The second one were 2 inmates. They were captured quickly. And then in 92, 3 inmates dug out in broad daylight.
They Shawshanked it.
They did Shawshank it. Yeah.
Not in daylight, but I mean, still the way they did it.
Right. I know. They tunneled out of there. And then in March of 95, it was closed due to poor living conditions and inhumane conditions.
No.
I know. You never hear about that in prisons, right?
That's just shocking.
Right, right. So, yeah.
What is this, a 4x8 cell? All right, let's fit like 25 guys in there.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember the size of those cells?
They were tiny.
They were,
I don't remember the exact size, but they were tiny.
yeah, they seem smaller than most we've been to.
I mean, the cells at OSR are like having your own bedroom compared to this thing.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. So, let's talk a little bit more about this riot in 86. So this riot lasted 3 days. Can you imagine being held hostage in this penitentiary for 3 days?
Well, I mean, technically, I think the prisoners were also there for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be rough.
They knew going in that they were not going to be seeing
Right.
years, right? These correctional officers didn't.
And a food service person.
Poor guy. He just wanted to make, or girl, he just wanted to make brownies,
Right.
taters. I don't know.
I just wanted to bake, man.
So, of the 688 inmates at the time, 200 of the inmates were involved in this prison riot. 3 inmates end up dead during this prison.
Honestly, that's impressive given the amount of people involved.
That only 3 ended
Yeah,
up
the
dead?
only 3.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's impressive that none of the correctional officers ended up dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure some of them were probably injured. I don't remember those details, but
Right.
So here's kind of the hubbub behind the inmates. So one of the infamous inmates, and we will talk more about some of these infamous inmates here pretty soon, Red Snyder, who was a pretty bad dude. It was rumored that he ordered the death of these inmates for whatever reason, probably because he thought they were rats or whatever. So that's probably why the inmates ended up dead and not some of the correctional officers. So the inmates were Kent Sly, Jeff Atkinson, who were both serving life sentences for murder, and then Richard Harold Dean, who was serving 15 years for kidnapping. So those were the 3 that ended up dying during the riots. And then there was also, you might be able to correct me on this one, but Danny Lehman, which is one of the more known inmates that they talk about on the tours and stuff. You'll see some of his artwork in the photos. Ended up dying not long after that. It may have been from injuries.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jenny says, so am I think. Oh, they're talking about doing the tour. Okay. So it looks like almost everybody's going to do this.
We're beyond that now. That's so 7 minutes ago.
Keep up. God. So anyway, I have kind of an interesting story to share from the second, I think it was the second time. Smart ass. The second time I went there. So at the time, I was taking a couple friend of mine that had never done anything like this before, but they were really interested. They wanted to go along.
Oh, way to dive right in.
Right? So this girl's at work one day, really excited, talking about, one of these places she's going. And because she's not into this sort of thing, she could not remember the name of the place. She's like, it's a big penitentiary in West Virginia. She's telling the girls at the lunch table. And she said she looks over, and one of the girls that she's sitting at the lunch table with just goes white as a ghost. Like, looks like she's about to pass out. Come to find out, this girl, her brother was Richard Harold Dean.
Huh.
The guy that died in the riot, serving 15 years for kidnapping. She grew up in West Virginia. They were somewhat estranged. He was kind of like the black sheep of the family or whatever. And so we kind of had a personal tie to that riot story. So, hey, Jen.
That's not Jen.
Oh.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean. So that was just kind of interesting to learn all that.
Oh, just real quick, since he is here in the frame. For those who don't know, this is Sean Litton. He's actually the co-founder of the North American Paranormal Society as well.
Hello.
So, Oh, geez.
Oh, geez. Welcome back. You've moved back, haven't you, Sean, to North Carolina?
Moved back. I did move back, yeah.
Well, welcome back.
About 3 months ago.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So yeah, I just thought that was kind of a weird story.
Yeah. A little shocking coincidence to be somehow someone related to it.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool because before we went, she provided us with some information like his birthday and like what his nickname was as a kid and stuff like that. Didn't really garner us anything, but anyway, kind of interesting. So let's share a few pictures and then we'll touch more upon some of the infamous inmates at West Virginia Penitentiary that some people have probably either heard about through, TV shows or what have you, whatnot. You wanna?
Wait, there's TV shows about ghost hunting?
I know.
I gotta look into this.
They're rare. You might have trouble finding them. Only if you're lucky, right?
Right.
All right. So anywho, here we go. So this is kind of the front facade of it, the front center of the building. Obviously, it's a huge building. That is not nearly half of it.
Like you can see a little bit of the wing over there on the end that stretches for like what seems 4 miles. It's very long, and it goes the other way the exact same distance. It's huge.
So
there you go.
Yeah, that gives you a little bit perspective because you were seeing one wing, the center, and one wing of it there.
Mm-hmm.
So, the beautiful sign out front with the E and the R missing. So this is one of the Indian mounds across the street.
Is that a vortex in the top left?
It is.
Oh my God.
Well, it is a spirit. It's a spirit. So anyway, what is wrong with you? So anyway, that's where Moundsville gets its name, from the Indian mounds. And you can go see that. That's right across the street. I've actually never made it over to like the little, I don't know if you want to call it a museum, but you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever gone over there?
We did. I've only been there once so far, but we actually did make it over to that area. I thought you had to go through the museum to actually get to the thing, though.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But I remember standing up on top of that mound, kind of getting an overview, because like you said, right across the street, so you can see a really good panoramic view of the prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good vantage point, but the history of the mound itself is actually pretty neat. Just but neat.
Try to hit that this time around. So here, kids, is what we call a glory hole. Troy, do you know what a glory hole is? So
I know a definition.
So you'll see a lot of these in prison, and we were.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, there's the old glory hole. So there's old Sparky. So, and if I'm not mistaken, too, one of you guys can probably correct me on this, but I want to say that one of the inmates built this as well.
Did they?
I think so. I thought this was built by one of the inmates.
That would just be horrible.
Yeah, right.
Because if they're not a licensed electrician or anything, they don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, he probably didn't wire it up. Maybe he just built.
Okay.
Yeah.
If he's just building a chair, then that's different. But
and then too, Eric, I mean, I could just be making all this shit up. I don't know. I don't remember. We'll find out on the 12th, right?
On this episode of Fact or Fiction,
Yeah.
You find out.
So here is the letter from Mr. Manson himself. Yeah, whatever. I can't imagine why they didn't want him. So,
he looks like a very well, minded individual. I don't know why they denied him.
Yeah. He looks like an upstanding citizen right there.
Absolutely. I mean, the swastika thing in the forehead. I mean,
yeah. That doesn't give a fuck at all. So there's more artifacts about Manson and wanting the transfer and yada yada. And those things can also be found there in the entry kind of museum where they've got the artifacts and such. So
Is that a ghost?
Yes, God, you've got some good eyes. I don't know how you saw that.
Years of experience.
So this is the infamous Sugar Shack. The Sugar Shack was used actually as a recreation area, and maybe
Sure.
to work out, maybe too. But apparently, a lot of really bad things happened down in the Sugar Shack because it wasn't well guarded.
It wasn't sweet at all.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna. What happened down there? I'm just not even gonna touch on that at all. Yeah. So this is just looking into one of the cells at the artwork. So I guess these guys had nothing but time.
They were happy individuals.
Right. This is
that's a cool shot.
At night. Isn't that kind of cool? Yeah. So that's not spooky at all, right?
Though honestly, I like the way they did that. However, the coolest thing I've ever seen on the facade of this was when we were rolling up to it, my first time, and there was a whole full-on thunderstorm going on, lightning going like crazy, and it was so dark around this area, as you can see in the picture. So all you could see from the prism was the silhouette of it as you're getting closer to it, with the lightning illuminating behind it, and it was just like, oh, so you're spending the night here. Yay!
That was one of the coolest preludes to an investigation I've ever witnessed.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been in 2012. That must have been the second time I went, I think.
Okay.
So imagine, if you will, you don't have to imagine it, Eric, because you were there. Let me tell you a little story. So anybody watching this, imagine if you will, we roll up to this place. It's late at night. It's probably like 11 or close to it. Right before we get there, this crazy ass thunderstorm rolls in with lightning. There's only 6 of us there that night.
Mm-hmm.
6 of us to that entire building.
Yeah.
And we are walking around that place trying to set up and trying to get our stuff together with lightning just lighting up the entire building in the hallways. And it was one of the coolest preludes.
Talk about having your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Every time the hallway lit up, you're looking.
Yeah. I think all of us, like the first time the lightning struck, we all looked at each other like, oh, it's going to be a good night. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The amount of static electricity in the air, we're like, yes.
I mean, if nothing else, it was just the creep factor of it all.
It was like being in a horror movie.
Yeah, it was. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that night it was me, Kurt, Travis, you, Nick, and John. Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So just the 6 of us to that entire building. And I don't remember the square foot of the building to you, but it's
not offhand.
It's big. I mean,
it is big.
I would say it's probably close to like Trans-Allegheny or OSR size, isn't it?
I don't think it's, well, I guess it depends on how they're calculating the square footage, because I know OSR goes up a lot higher in tiers on their gel cells than Moundsville does. Because Moundsville, I think, has what, 3 or 4 high?
OSR has 4.
OSR had like 6.
Is it 6? Really?
It was tall. It was up there.
I don't remember, but no, you're right. It doesn't go up as far.
So I don't know if they're counting like each landing and everything for each level of the cells as square footage or not. I mean, because it's within the wing, so I'm not sure how they're really calculating that. So I would say if that was the case, I would think OSR would be a little bit bigger. But also OSR had the offshoots on the back too, for where Solitary was and like the barber shops and things like that. So I don't remember Moundsville having any offshoots.
Oh, no, I don't think it does.
I think it's just the one building, granted, very long building.
Yeah. So this is the cafeteria.
That's a cheerful place.
Yeah. This is, I can't remember which wing this is, what block this is, but I'm almost positive. See how you've got it almost looks like there is a gate separating some of these cells that's closest to the photo from the rest of the cell block.
I think this is max security.
I'm almost positive because I think this is standing right outside of what would have been Red Snyder's cell. He was in cell 20 in Max.
So Red was there.
What's that?
Red was there.
Yeah. I'm almost positive this is Max in one of the cell blocks. So Red Snyder is one of the more infamous prisoners that you'll hear about in all the stories. He started getting into trouble with the law pretty early. He shot his father. He then proceeded to hold 8 kids hostage, prisoner, ranging in ages. Shit, making up my own freaking words here. From 3 to 22. And then he ended up shooting the kids' fathers, or the kid's father. And then when he came to prison, he was the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood there. So he was a pretty scary dude and pretty well respected and feared within the prison population there. But anyway, so, and it's said that Red was, behind a lot of, organizing the riots of 86. And that,
who would have thought?
Yeah, no. And then actually he ordered the death of the 3 inmates during that riot. So Red, he had a buddy there, Rusty Lassiter. I think he was in Max as well, maybe just a few cells down. But I can't remember the reason. The reason escapes me now. But for whatever reason, Rusty turned on Red one day. As Red's walking out of his cell, Rusty stabs him like 15 times right outside of his cell door. So right there in that hallway is where Red would have died.
Dang.
And it is, of course, it's rumored that Red is still there. Yeah.
I mean, if that was what he considered his domain, I can see why that would be appealing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he knew much life outside of prison. So, so we'll see if we can find Red. So anyway, this is the front door and the front stairway to the prison. This is not where you enter through or exit through, but this is the front door that you see from the front facade of the outside of the prison. They were actually working on this area last time we were there, I believe. So these are some old teammates of ours. These guys are no longer in the area, but Steve and Damien. And you'll see behind them what the area called Wagon Gate. So you'll hear people talk about Wagon Gate because that's one of the first areas that the prison built. And that's where a lot of the hangings took place.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So there you go. That's where you would have hung. You would have dangled from a rope there in Wagon Gate. So this is like one of the main hallways as you enter in to the prison from the front entry area, and they call this area Main Street. I think it's had that nickname for quite some time. Here's one of the prison cells. So as you can see, not very big, not a lot of space. So.
And I think the one we're looking at here as well, the rusted area that you see on that far wall, I'm pretty sure there were bunk beds in these cells.
There were, oh, well, that would make sense. I mean, they were packed in there like sardines at one point.
Oh, yeah. And you see those beds are not very wide.
No. Oh, my God. I mean, you better hope that you don't toss and turn a lot at night because you'd fly right off there. Looks pretty posh. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you will probably notice this area, Eric, because I think you guys had some experiences up here too. This is like in the infirmary psych ward. And this is where crazy stuff has happened for us. This is like one of the areas that crazy stuff has happened for us almost every single time we've gone. So you walk up through the stairs this, you kind of go through this little area where it looks like two, like almost like little isolation cells. And then past that, you go into a bigger room, which I think was the psych ward. And then on the other end of the psych ward is another hallway with a few other rooms. So this has always produced a little activity for us every time we've gone. If I remember right, that's where you guys had something happen too.
That's
right?
where we had the most experiences happen up there. That when we started up there that night, the same night of the thunderstorm, and we must have caught it at a great time because it was going crazy up there.
Yeah. So those are the photos of all the people executed there at the prison. I think it's 94.
Wow.
Yeah. There's Travis, and the only thing I can say is I don't know what the hell took so long for somebody to lock him up.
Just to say, finally.
Finally. So, and then this is us. The third time we went in 2016 when Escape the Pen, their escape room had not been open for very long in the penitentiary, and we played it, and we did not get out.
Wait. There's an escape room in the penitentiary? I didn't know that. That wasn't.
How did you not know that? We have tickets to do it on Sunday.
I didn't know it was at the prison. I just thought it was in Moundsville.
No, it's at the prison.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so we did.
I need that gift now. Just
we did not escape. So as you can tell from the look on my face, I'm looking a little salty there. So yeah, you better bet your booty that I've got to go back and redeem myself, and we've got to get out this
it's
time.
a challenge now.
Yeah. And just to make you feel better, I do not remember anything about the puzzles or anything in the room. We are not going to have any kind of unfair advantage on this. I remember elements of the room. I remember kind of what the room looks like, but I don't remember anything about how to solve anything in there. So I'm not going to be able to.
Is it similar to the one we did in Mansfield where we got put in the orange jumpsuits and handcuffed and thrown into a cell? Then they laughed and pointed at us and walked away, and then we started wondering if it was even in an escape room.
So that traumatized you because I don't remember it like that at all. I do remember having to wear orange jumpsuits and handcuffs, but I don't remember them laughing at us.
No, they didn't. I made that completely up.
I figured you did. Drama queen. I think the point that I can't remember, you're supposed to save the prisoner from being electrocuted. So you're in the warden's office and you have to find something to stop the execution, something of that nature.
I mean, do we want to though?
Well,
what does this guy do?
The room, you've got to save him.
What did he do though? Maybe the other way to win is he don't.
I don't care what he did. We are getting out of this damn room. We're winning this time, Eric. So don't even play that card. Doesn't matter what he did. So anywho, that is the end of the slideshow there. So the only other infamous prisoner there that you do hear a lot of stories about that we should probably talk about is, do you remember the story about R.D. Wall?
I don't offhand.
So apparently, I can't remember what he was there for or how long he was there, but he was a pretty model inmate, I believe. He got along with the inmates. He got along with the guards. So he was kind of like a maintenance guy there too. So he got these like special privileges. So because of that, a lot of the other inmates thought that he was a snitch, right? So they didn't like him. So he is heading down he was like a maintenance clerk. He's heading down to the maintenance room one night. You have to go through the basement to get to the maintenance room. Some inmates were waiting inside the basement door for RD when they got there, when he got there, they cut off his fingers, cut his neck with a piece of metal, and shoved him in the bathroom stall, which is where the guards found him.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of reports of RD still in that area. So,
Why the fingers, though?
not sure. But don't ask RD to give you a hand because he can't do it.
I see what you did there.
I'm a funny guy. All right. So, anywho, that is what it is. So, unless you have anything to add about anything you remember, any little piece of history, we can talk about kind of experiences.
The history, like I said, I'm still kind of fuzzy on because I never really did a historical piece of it, which I'm looking to correct this time around.
Yeah. So tell me, you guys went with us. So I went in 10, 12, and 16. When you guys went, it was in 2012.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, because that was your first time there, right?
Yes. First and only so far.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about like your impression of the building, what you had happen, if anything, like what stuck out for you.
Well, I mean, we've already covered the intro to the building as we rolled up to it in the thunderstorm. So, I mean, if that doesn't make you want to change your pants right there, then I don't know what does. But
did you bring a change of pants that night?
I am this time.
Good thinking.
But we were walking around. Yeah, we started out in the psych ward. I know we separated into the two groups, and our group was the first ones up in the psych ward. And I found the audio clip of it. However, unfortunately, what we heard with our ears, you can't really hear in the audio, which really sucks. But on command, like as we were in the big open room where they were said all the beds would be lined up on the walls, and being in the psych ward and things like that. So we're standing there, and it was Nick and I on one side, John was on the far end on the other side, and I said, okay. Obviously, if they're trying to talk to us, maybe we can't hear them. Let's try a different tactic. I know sometimes that if they're being unruly or they're just for their protection, sometimes they'll be restrained to the bed. So I said, if you are restrained to your bed, I want you to shake the bed frame, like just kind of shake around to make that noise. So that way it lets us know that you understand us and can hear us. And almost on command, like maybe 2-3 seconds after I say it, you hear like a metal bed frame shaking. There's nothing in this room.
Right. Yeah, I remember that room being completely empty.
Yeah, and wall to wall, totally empty. No, I mean, no replicas or anything in there, just completely bare. And so, I think at that point you hear Nick go, "What was that?" And I said, "Okay, to make sure that wasn't a fluke, can you do that sound again?" And this time, the exact same sound happened, but farther down the room, more towards John this time, but on the opposite side of the room, where another possible bed would have been. And at that point, we're just like, okay, what in the world? And to clarify, because I know what I thought I heard. So I asked Nick, who's standing next to me, I said, you heard that, right? He's like, yeah, I heard that. I was like, what did you hear? Because I wanted to confirm it. I didn't want to tell him and give him that power of suggestion about here's what you heard or what I heard and kind of play into it. I asked him what he heard, and he replied with exactly what you asked for. So he thought the exact same thing, that it was a bed frame shaking, and we heard it twice up there. And that's not the only thing that happened in that area. Like we were hearing whistling sounds from both ends. Because at one point we would go, all of us would group down to one side, chasing what we thought was a whistle, only to hear it coming from the complete opposite side now. So we all kind of Scooby-Doo back down over there. And it's just back and forth. We started hearing like footsteps coming up the stairs. And I think we even like radioed you guys, like, where are you guys at? Because we didn't know if you were coming to get us or talk to us about something. And you were complete opposite side of the building. So there's nobody around us. And it was just going crazy up there. Like we were literally chasing things. And to this point, we still don't know what made that sound. Right. And the crazy thing is, and I don't understand personally how it works, is how we heard it with our own ears, but the audio recorder didn't pick it up. So that was kind of baffling. Now, if I turn the sound way up on the recorder, I can hear a little bit of it. But when we were there, it was so much louder. Like, it literally sounded like the first time we heard that bed shake, it sounded like it was about 10 feet from us. So I don't know what to say about that one. It was strange, but it definitely stuck with me. And it's very rare, in my personal experience, when you can ask for something and have something happen on command.
Right, because there are so many other times where it's so nondescript or so,
Right.
sure it comes, but maybe 5 minutes later, or where
Right.
it just happens immediately. Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it happens like 5 minutes later, you're just kind of like, all right, that maybe was something, but I'm like, was that in response to what I said 5 minutes ago? Who knows? I mean,
right. Yeah.
But when it happens literally within 10 seconds of you asking, and it sounds very specific to what you asked and not just like a knock on a wall, it's intriguing. It's really intriguing.
So what I think is really interesting about that area is that we've been 3 times. The first 2 times we had the exact same thing happen in that area. And it's the same area that you guys had that happen
in that big empty room.
Yeah, which I don't know if it's like an infirmary
I
/
think sort of was. Yeah, I think it was like a combo.
Yeah. So it's like I said, you top the stairs, you go into that small room that has the 2 what look like little isolation cells that we saw a picture of earlier. You go into the bigger room that is completely empty, it has absolutely nothing in it. And then on the other side of that, it's like a hallway with some more rooms. So it's always in that area. So this, I'm going to share with you, this is an audio clip that we got from the first time we were there. This is in that big open room that you're talking about. This is from September of 2010. Oops.
Bang.
Right?
Bang.
Well, why is it not playing? All right, that's weird. Let me try to add it again. We can do this another way. Let me do this. Hang on just a second. I'm going to pull up the website and I will just share my screen with you because I'm not sure why it's not working in the live stream.
We're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
All right. Let me see something here. Yep, still can't hear it. Okay. We're out here waiting on you.
Oh, boy.
Doesn't it hear on Beckman next day? There's another one.
So
those are pretty distinct.
Yeah, and what it sounds like when you're in that room is it sounds like somebody's taking a baseball bat and just whacking the crap out of a metal pipe or something. I mean, it's so loud that I remember jumping because it startled me. You're just not ready for that.
Right.
So we go back in 2012, March of 2012, in that area again, and we have this happen.
Okay.
So on command.
Yeah. And then also to more to the point of what you were talking about, we did have this happen, but it wasn't clear enough on audio, but we heard a metal rattling like you guys described.
Really?
And that was the same visit that you guys were with us on. So what you are describing is what it sounded like, metal bids shaking or rattling. I kind of described, because I was in that little room that had the 2 isolation cells. I was in there by myself, and it sounded to me like somebody was taking that door and shaking it to one of those isolation cells. So it sounded like metal rattling, which is the same thing you guys.
Yeah. The only difference, I think, based on that, is if you were able to kind of pinpoint an area where it was, ours moved.
Okay.
Like, it was definitely in that big open room, but it moved locations.
Yeah, we didn't have to chase anything down. It seemed like it was all around us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the psych ward was definitely a place I'd like to revisit this go around.
Yeah. Yeah. No, when we went back in 2016, we didn't have that happen. But
That sounds about right.
I'm like you. I want to spend some time in that area, see if I can get it to happen again, and just find the source of it. Because that's one of those things, like, obviously I heard it. How could you not hear it? But where the heck is it coming from?
Right. Especially in a big empty room.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of places that you have to look under to find out what's making the noise.
But I guess, too, you're in that old building. Maybe it could be coming from somewhere else and the noise be traveling. Although it was really loud. It sounded like it was coming from the same room as we were in. Doesn't mean it was, but that's what it sounded like.
And it's very possible that's the case, that the sound was traveling. But what makes it interesting is that the only time we ever heard that was when we asked for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting place, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So we go back in a week and a half. We'll be there on the 12th. There'll be how many of us this time? 12? 10? 12?
I thought it was 10.
10. Which I think is a good sized group for that. I mean, obviously it's a big building. It could take a lot more, but we usually like to keep things kind of small, just so we're not making sure that we're not interfering with each other, and we don't have all that cross contamination. And when we hear a noise, we can hopefully, pinpoint where it's coming from if you've got less people in the building.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of us have been there before. I know you, Nick, Kathy. If Jenny's still listening, I can't remember if she's been there before. And I think everybody else, it'll be their first time.
Well, hopefully it's a good one. I mean, if it was like my first time there, then it'll be memorable. So hopefully that picks up. And if a thunderstorm wants to roll through again,
yeah,
I'm cool.
I'll be upset. Jenny says no. I'm taking that as no, she's not been there before. So so it'll be interesting. And it's always kind of nice to be going. I mean, even though it won't be the first time for us, we will have some people in the group. It will be the first time for them going. So it's always kind of nice to go with first timers too, maybe to a place that you've been before.
I know Jen's never been before, so that'll be her first time there.
Okay, cool.
And I know Nick and John actually had another personal experience. I believe we were in the kitchen area. And like I was looking the completely opposite way, like a total noob. But apparently they're gonna hate me for saying this too. They said it looked to them like the O word.
Don't say it.
But it was like a free floating. It wasn't like a reflection or anything. It was like a bluish color, I remember them saying. And it just like vanished out of nowhere. We spent a good amount of time trying to recreate it. Like because I didn't see it, so I couldn't figure out where it was. So I walked outside, and because there are windows, on one area of that. And I started shining my flashlight in there, wondering if one of the volunteers was walking around outside and moved their flashlights up and through the window accidentally, or a car light for any reason, somebody was leaving. But no matter what we could do, we could not recreate it. So I know that was something. I don't know if they have since come up with other theories on it.
Well, Troy has a theory, and his theory is it was a bug.
A bug?
Yeah, he said it was a bug, Eric.
Troy, you weren't there. You don't know.
Prove it. So yeah, and confirmed that yes, this will be her first time. And Troy confirmed that none of his group, because we are going, members of Off Grid from North Carolina are coming with us. So he's confirmed that none of his group has been there before. So
a lot of rookies.
yeah, so it'll be of the people that have been there before, you, me, Kathy, and Nick, and that's it. Everybody else will be a newbie to West Virginia Penitentiary.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so you have anything else you want to add?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm just stoked about going back to it. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to go back here for years now, and the opportunity finally presented itself. So I was like, heck yeah, I got to go back. And then one of the most active places outside of OSR for like these big locations that I've personally been to. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out again.
Cool. So yeah, and for you, those of you watching, we will be there on the 12th, which is not this coming Friday, but the Friday after that. We do plan, as long as the penitentiary allows, to do maybe a little bit of live streaming during the investigation. It will be a Facebook live stream. Do keep in mind, though, it will be for you night owls, because our investigation doesn't start until 11 o'clock that night. So, yeah. So if you're anything like me and you have to be in bed by 9, you'll have to watch it the next So yeah. So the investigation starts at 9. I mean, at 11. We arrive there at 11. Of course, it will take us a little while to get all of our stuff together and then split up. So we will try to do some live streaming. Just don't know what time it'll be. It'll probably be pretty darn late. But you know, if you're interested in seeing the inside of that place other than in just photos, you know, tune in the night of the 12th.
It's going to be a good time.
Good time. Good time. Yeah. And just in case you didn't know, Eric, the escape room that we're going to is at the penitentiary.
Wait, it's at the prison?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, it's called Escape the Pen. I know, right? And I'm telling you, you guys, if somebody has to get hurt, I'm okay with that, but we're getting out this time. I will not lose to this escape room twice.
You're going to push somebody through the door, aren't you? You just like slam their head into it until the hinges give way.
If I have to, and I don't care who it is.
Troy, I hate it for you, man.
So look, Nick has just joined us as we're getting ready to sign off.
Oh, nice. I'm glad he joined in at the very last minute.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you not see the comments, Eric?
I cannot.
Oh my God. Well, sorry. But he said one of the most active nights. And he said that he's looking forward to seeing all of us fine folks. I know.
He's so sweet.
Yes, I love that little way. I love it. All right. So nothing else to add. Get out of my office. We'll see you guys. Oh my God, Eric, you eat stinky cheese?
What?
That's what Nick says.
Yeah, nothing good comes from his mouth.
So, yeah.
Just kidding, Nick.
Just kidding. We love you. Like, and I will say that now he's laughing. I will say this to Troy. We're looking forward to investigating with all of you guys.
Whoa.
Yes, even you, Troy.
Whoa. That's a whole different show now.
That's what Troy said to me on his last live stream. He saw that I was there, and you know, Nick's talking to him. He says something about looking forward to seeing you guys at West Virginia, and Troy says, "Yeah, we're looking forward to it." Even you, Beth. What does that even mean? So, Troy, if just in case you're still here, I do remember that.
Like I said, Troy, it's gonna be you against the door. I'm just saying.
Wait until the night of the 12th. So, all right. Bye, everybody.